Anybody in the community has any recommendations, whatever, they can go ahead and contact us. Excuse me. So just to start, we'll go ahead and introduce, and then I'll give an overview, and we'll start from there. So let's go ahead and introduce ourselves right quick. We can start off with Gwen.
Thanks, Jackie, and good afternoon, everybody. My name is Gwen Calhoun, and I'm an interested citizen.
Erica.
Hi, I'm Erica Merritt. I'm the Youth Services Librarian at the Sierra Vista Public Library.
All right, awesome. And Nancy.
Hi, good morning, everyone. I am in a very noisy environment. My name is Nancy Tucker. I currently work for Global Medical Response, but my background includes a number of years in managing and directing public library systems. I also had a short stint in a special library for a corporation, currently serving on the board for a library district and a long-term interest in literacy.
All right, thank you. Thank you. Miss Cynthia, you want to introduce yourself, and then I'll introduce you.
I'm Cynthia Meyers, and I'm the outreach coordinator here in the Cochise County School Superintendent's Office. And I am helping Jacqui run this initiative for the county.
I would say that Cynthia Meyers is the project manager and our outreach coordinator. So anything that happens outside of my office, usually Cynthia is definitely mixed into that. She's usually the project manager of all the big projects. So, we have Megan coming on. That's great. So, what I wanted to just say quickly is the background of what we're doing, or the rationale. The background is that we have 38% of our students reading at third grade level. And our idea, we pitched this to Treg Wyatt of K-Gun 9. And we told him that, well, he asked us, well, how could we help? What would you do to help? And I said, we wouldn't put anything else on the teachers. We will go ahead and have the community go ahead and help move the needle. And the needle right now is at 38%. 38% of our students can read at third grade level. That means that students who are learning to read, they learn to read at K to 3. And then they read to learn from 4 on. So if they can't read at third grade level, then they're definitely going to have a hard time when it comes to 4th grade and beyond. They're just going to have very big challenges. So explaining that to Mr. Treg Wright, who's also involved in script. K-Gun 9 is really big in scripts too, which is the spelling bee. They do the spelling bee also. We talked, and he told me of a grant, and we wrote the grant out, and it was approved. $10,000 was approved. So everything that we're doing right now is in the grant. Okay, so we're going to be following the instructions of the grant, but I also told them that with this, instead of my office doing it on their own, we're going to be getting community members and any teacher or anybody in education who would like to help. And I would say Miss Megan Leslie, she was at our general committee meeting. Oh my goodness, some of the things that she put out, because we don't think like Miss Megan. She is a K2, right? K2 teacher. And this is going to be an exciting, amazing project. But as far as the book committee is concerned, we're looking at getting books from kindergarten to 3rd grade. That's what we're looking at. And because that's what the grant was for, and that's what we're gearing all our efforts to. But we want to we're not just the only ones who are going to do this. We're going to do this with the help of our community, businesses especially, which will augment whatever teachers do. So we're not going to ask the teachers to do anything, except we're going to tell them what we're doing. And if they would like to use what we're doing as part of their curriculum, they can feel free to do so. So the businesses will be the repository for the books. We talked at our last meeting about how the setup would be and the logo contest and all these wonderful things. And it's just amazing. In fact, we will go ahead and share the meeting link with you guys. But this committee right here's job is to basically say, these are the books that we would like to offer to our students in Cochise County. Some of the books that we're looking at are character ed books, civics books, any local author that you may have that or may know, anything that has to do with STEM or STEAM, which is science, technology, engineering, art, math. Okay, so character ed, civics, local author STEM, and any type of books that has to do with I am awesome. You're awesome too. We can do everything together. We can change the world together. Okay, so we're looking at those books that will really turn the hearts of our kids, and also we want them to have a love of reading. If we can get them hooked, right, then they will be hooked for life. So we're going to get the businesses. They're going to be involved. But I just want to say this one thing because I'm going to have to go in a few minutes. Megan had this great idea. We're going to give the kids a map of all the businesses, right? And then all the businesses, they'll get the displays. They'll design it the way they want to. We're going to give them the crate. We're going to give them the logo because we're going to have a logo contest in the county. And each of the businesses can fix the display up the way they want. But if we give them a map and say that there's a business in San Simone, that kid may, yes, I'm going to go ahead and go to Sierra Vista or Douglas, but San Simone got one too, and they may have some little special collectible item there that I want to go get, and that's making them go all, and their parents solicit the businesses too. And then the businesses, they'll have their little bookmark in it with their business, whatever. And of course, they'll have the books there. But look at how amazing that is. And then having the cards, we have the bronze card, the silver card, and the gold card. And then we have collectible cards. And that's another thing that Megan is going to work on, how these cards, they're going to look. So they're going to get to collect these cards that have things on it that K to third graders like. I cannot say what that is because I'm not in that, but she is. So she's going to be, can you imagine that? They're going to have the 3 main cards, and then in the summer, if they finished all 9 books, collectibles. I'm going to get you. So I can see this thing continuing on. So we want, how can we get it continue? Well, you get your 3 and then you have your collectibles. So, but the main thing, I'm just excited about this. Right? So the main thing we need to do now, we need to get together the books, figure out what they are, put them on a shared document, and then come back again and say, these are the books we're going to buy. So you'll get all this time to put the books in, on the document. And then when we come back again, we can look at them and we can talk about them, we can vote on them, we can do whatever. But the thing is, we're going to have a discussion about these are best we feel that these are best for our students, not only just for the 3rd grade reading, but also to learn certain things, whether it's civics or, character education or STEM or STEAM or whatever. So, and at the same time, the businesses get to help also. And I think that this is going to be a great, great thing. So we have some action items that you're going to be looking at. And I did that really, really quickly because I have to go in a few minutes. But we are counting on you guys to figure out the books, the publisher, this group is going to be responsible for selecting those books, and then we have to pay for them. Then we have to, then I would say that we would probably deliver them to wherever they need to go. Miss Gwen, you had a question.
You would have been shocked if I didn't have a question. And I don't need to keep you, but just a couple of things. You mentioned the categories. Were those suggested by the general committee? And are we bound to those categories?
Those were put in the grant.
Okay, okay.
Okay, these were the books that were put in the grant. If there's something similar, yes, but this is what was agreed upon on the grant.
Okay, and then it says selecting the top five books from each category of 50. I don't understand that.
We can get to that. I think, I don't know. I just don't want to, I know Dr. Clay's tight on time. We're going to talk about how that process is going to work, where we're going to select the books. You all are going to work on a shared document and give me any books in those particular categories that you think are interesting. We've already gotten some ideas from the community on the STEM and the civics and the character education, and they're all going to go on a shared document that you can see. And then once we feel like we've really kind of weeded out the books that are going to be good, what the book committee is going to do is I'm going to build a survey, and I'm going to put 50 books in each category. And we may decide as a committee that we want to take 10 from the category of 50 and not 5. That's that's kind of a group discussion to have. But I tentatively said out of the category, we're going to put 50 books there, and the committee is going to complete the survey and select their top 5 or their top 10 books in each category. And then those will be the books that we will purchase. And then there has to be a process there that can be transparent, so that people don't think that, we just picked the books that we wanted and we didn't take into account the public and everything like that.
Right.
So that's where that 5 and that 50 comes in. We're going to have categories of 50. We're going to have 50 in each category. And then you're going to make a selection of 5 or 10 books out of that 50 individually. And then we'll come together as a committee and see what all those books are that were selected and decide which ones are going to get purchased from there. Does that make sense?
Well, excuse me, Megan, and to some degree it does. The only thing I was concerned about, and I'm sure we have time to talk about that, is different parts of the county, different interest areas of information. I don't know if this counts for K3, but Megan and others that are in library can help us with that. But I just kind of am curious about what do they, I know we have things we feel is very important for them to learn, but how do we also consider the families and what they feel is really important? For instance, this is where I'm coming from. Say you're in a farming community. Do you want some books that talk about farming as they teach about other things? Or you're in a military environment. Do you want books that make sense to military and maybe not make sense to somebody who has not been exposed to military at all? So that's—
I would like to address that. What we tried to do when we wrote the grant is to get general things, not specify. Hopefully with specified, then that community could continue but what we did was we were as broad as possible across the spectrum. And we know across the spectrum, civics is an issue across the spectrum. We want more people to go into STEM. Okay. And we're looking at the educational portion of this right now. What are we lacking? Okay. Talking about engineering and technology and coding and all these other things. So talking about character education, these are broad subjects that was accepted at the grant. They were not specified. If it's specified, we've talked to Fort Huachuca, they will start their own. Okay. And if the farming community, they'll be able to start their own. We're just the spark for the general portion of this. And hopefully within each community, okay, they will continue on. So that we, so there's, each community basically will specialize in what they like. We're just the general, we're just, and the other thing is, I just want you guys to also consider big time, you have to realize, me and Cynthia, we've been doing a lot of surveys about this. It was specifically said, don't forget Braille books, don't forget books in other languages.
Right.
All right, so that is very general. We cannot, you see, so if we can find books, whatever we select, whatever you guys select, let's make sure if we can get them in Braille and if we can get them in another language, in Spanish, and it's only because we're by the border, all right, that we try our best to get books that are in those categories too. Okay, but again, we want to be as broad as possible, and we want our communities to start embracing this, and I think they will. Can you imagine that those communities, that those businesses that are doing this, then they may say, listen, let's get these type of books. They may go ahead and start doing things like that. We're just the spark of bringing everything together.
And I think too, yeah, I'm sorry, Dr. Clay.
Go
I
ahead.
think also, you know, when we get down to that point where we really whittle down the books in the categories to those 50 books. I mean, as a committee, we can have a discussion about, you know, in the 50 that we have, you know, how are we going to select, you know, those books, and we'll have a kind of a matrix of what should go into the thought process when you're selecting those 50 books. And it'll be something as a committee, when, you know, we'll just get a rubric together, and in the selection of the books, the rubric wants you to look at this and this and this in the selection of the books, so that you're all having the same process, and you're not like, oh, I like that and I like that. You know, we'll follow the rubric. We'll keep it kind of, you know, kind of contained, and also just transparent, because we don't really want too much of our, you know, our personal biases or opinions coming into how we're selecting those books. We want to keep it open. And then once we're able to go through the rubrics and you all select the books, then we'll take a look at the books and say, which one of these are available in Braille? Which ones of these are available in Spanish? And we may have, you know, 100 books and only 2 of them are available in Braille. And how are we going to solve that? Are we going to go back to our list of books that we didn't select and find that there's about 10 of them in Braille, and maybe we need to add those extra books so we have Braille books, so that we have books that cover the languages? But I think the big thing is, like Dr. Clay said, just we're going to get the general categories of the books and then start from there and break it down. And I really do think that communities, you know, agricultural areas and, you know, Spanish
Military
areas, those businesses will provide other books that they think are necessary, that they can add to the offerings for the kid. Again, it's getting the books in the hands of the children that we're really concerned about.
Absolutely. And I have one more thing before I leave. I want you guys to please consider, once everything is, you've figured it out, or while you're figuring it out, once we get the books, let's put a people's choice survey out there, just to put it on our website and on our social media and on anything you have. Hey, these are the books we're looking at. You want to vote on them? And then let's see what the people also, what they will like, and any recommendations. What if we get a recommendation? What if we get 20 of the same recommendation? That may be something that we can add to. That's just something to think about, because we want this project to be as broad and as transparent as possible, and easy, you know, as possible. So I'm gonna have to go. I have another meeting. Thank you, ladies, so much. I look forward to the rest of the recording, and we're going to be putting this on YouTube. All of our meetings will go on YouTube. That keeps this wonderful project transparent, and we're going to validate everybody in our educational ecosystem. So again, thank you so much. I appreciate you from the bottom of my heart, and we will talk later.
Thank you, Dr. Clay.
Bye-bye.
Okay. So is everybody comfortable using a shared document where you can kind of just put the name of the books in there? Are you all okay with that? And if you're not, what you can do is just email me the list and I can cut and paste it into the shared document. But by Monday or Tuesday of next week, I will send out an email with minutes from some of the things we discussed today, and also a link to that shared document, and you all can just drop in there what you're interested in. And I think we will probably post something on social media and something on our website to allow people to suggest books for K-3 in certain categories. That's also going to be the trick, is really remembering that we're staying in that K-3 range, and looking, at Megan and Erica and Nancy, who have the, library background. There may be some books that you all say, oh, I really don't think that's a K-3 book, and I would have no idea. So that's the other piece of the book committee that's going to be really helpful, is using your skill sets to help us really, whittle down the books and make sure they're where we need them to be. Are there any thoughts or anything that anyone wants to share about that?
Nancy, it's Gwen. Will we have book plates for the books that say it's part of the reading across Cochise County something?
So the kids get to keep the books. We're not expecting to get the books back.
Right.
The kids get to keep them, but yes, I think we're probably gonna, once we get our logo, the logo contest, and we get the logo, we'll probably get stickers made that can go inside the cover of the book or something like that. So that is that what you're thinking, or is that more for tracking
It
purposes?
seems like it's a good idea, so that even in the future, folks know this was a program that came from Cochise County, and I don't know, it just seemed like a good idea. But to be discussed and figured out by the, who is running the logo contest? Is that the general committee?
The general committee is in charge of the logo contest, and what we are going to do is, there are 4 high school CTE programs that have graphic design, and we're going to reach out to those CTE programs and ask them to work on the logos. And then the other thing that we're going to do is, we're also going to open it up to art programs in other schools in the county that have the ability to do graphic design or want to try a graphic design project. And it can be, in middle school, high school, and they can try to create a logo. So we'll start with the CTE students, just because I know they have the equipment to be able to do the graphic design piece of it, but we will open it up to other graphics programs and art programs at the schools in the county, and bring those in. And then the general committee will select which logo we're going to use. And they're going to get a prize for it. The prizes are the CEF is going to donate $100, $50, $25 for the first, second, third prizes. So there'll be a little motivation there for the kids.
Oh, one other one. Nobody else spoke up. You guys have to be fast, because I always have a lot. But do I understand that every business will get exactly the same books?
So I think that's again something, as a book committee, we need to decide. Obviously, we're gonna whittle the books down, and we're gonna order from the ones that we select, and then we're going to deliver the books to the businesses. And we haven't gotten that far yet. Well, are we gonna, each business is gonna get 5 of this book and 5 of that book, and honestly, we haven't gotten that far yet, Gwen. I think it gets a little complicated if we let the businesses select the books. I also think that the children may have in mind a certain book that they want, but they also want to, kind of play the game of collecting their cards and their little trinkets and stuff like that. And so if they go to a business and they're wanting a specific book, it should probably be at that business. So I would think that we give all of the same books to each business, and then they can supplement it. And as the program goes on, there may be some books in certain businesses that are never taken out. Nobody ever takes those books, and then we'll know to swap them out with something else. But anybody that has ideas on the best way to do that, I'm open to that.
Is there ever a chance we can meet as in person, sit around a table and talk?
Absolutely. After I will have to just fully admit that I am, if you can see my whiteboard behind me, I am so in the weeds right now at work, that meeting in person was just not possible. But after the holidays in the new year, yes, I think we should definitely try to meet in person, and we can do a meeting here in our office in Sierra Vista, and we can do a kind of combo virtual in person. So absolutely. And I think when we get down to that selection process, just like every other thing that I do here, where we do teacher of the year and stuff like that, getting together and doing that judging and stuff in person is really helpful. So I think what we'll probably do is, after we make the book selection and, you know, you get your rubric and you go through and you make the decision, we'll all come together as a group, and I'll bring the data back together and we can discuss it in person. Megan, did you have something? I think a while ago you looked like you wanted to pop in there and say something.
I don't quite remember. There were a few things that I was thinking that I wanted to add, but one of the things that I was thinking about was when Gwen was asking about the variety of books. And from my experience, books are either a window or a mirror. So it's nice that we'll have a variety of books for the kids to be able to read about something that they're completely unfamiliar with, to get more exposure to the world around them. So we don't want all of their books to be a mirror. We want them to be a window too. And then I'm not sure what else I wanted to say.
I'm sorry.
No, it's okay.
I always have to write little notes down when so that I can remember.
I know, I should do that.
And something we did discuss, you know, in the general committee meeting, is that the purpose of this is not to try to, you know, educate the kids through the reading process. It's for them to develop a passion for reading a book. You know, with technology, you don't read a book. I'm old, you know, I got a shovel and a pail and my dog, and I went outside. And after my hour of TV was over, you know, I read a book, because that's, you know, what you did. But kids don't do that anymore. And, you know, to open their imagination and give them that window through reading, I think is really the goal of the program. And in that process, hopefully by developing that passion for reading, it's going to help with the literacy piece.
So, you know, the librarians and the school teachers could give us a little insight there, because I just wonder if, you know, kids have certain interests in like animals, and that would make a kid want to really, really read if they got to read, you know, about, I can't remember the one I loved so much growing up, about that dog in Alaska, you know, or they like reading about fashion. I don't know, third grader maybe, or they like reading about machinery or jets, you know. And that's where I'm kind of wondering, how do we help them to develop that passion, because they have to find books that at first they like, you know, the picture's pretty or something, or it shows something they really are fond of, and then moving on to looking for more and more books like that. Erica had her hand up.
I can tell you for sure, as the person who buys the kids' books for the kids section here at the library, that you will be pleasantly surprised once you start looking for books, that even though civics doesn't always, and character education might not sound that interesting to us, but the authors and the publishing companies have come out with some really amazing books that don't feel like they're talking about civics and character education. They're just really good stories. So I think that you're going to be pleasantly surprised once you start looking for titles, that you're going to be able to find books that kids are going to be interested in reading that still fit that criteria.
Well, you know what, Erica, that's kind of exactly where I was coming from. I know we're going to get books that have the general topics that are listed, but in so many different ways that the appeal to kids will be there, beyond us, of the just the appeal of what the book is about, even though it may be about STEM or STEAM. They'll find those books that really grab their attention. So I'm looking forward to this a lot. I can't wait to be exposed to all the different materials for that age group.
There's so many fun kids books out there. They're so much better than grown-up books.
Yeah, we actually behind the scenes when we started this, Dr. Clay and I canvassed a lot of the educators, and I do a lot of the STEM science stuff in our office, and I don't know how many of you know Cal Manis, but he's amazing and involved in a lot of stuff. And we said, hey Cal, can you send us a list of books? And I mean, he sent me a list for each grade from K through 3, and I'm just reading the titles of the books. I'm like, I want to read that. I want to read that. That sounds like so much fun. So we have gotten, just from putting it out publicly to teachers and educators and trainers for that K through 3, gotten some lists of books already that will get tossed in there with your selections. And I think we're gonna come up with a lot of really great stuff. And my hope is that not only do we encourage the kids to read, but we get families and parents involved in the
Right,
process of
yeah.
the books, which is one of the reasons why we're not worrying about getting the books back, because we want the books to stay in their home and to be sitting on a table or somewhere else where a sibling or a parent can kind of pick up the book and look at the book.
Right.
So, yeah.
Erica, I'll be over to the library to go through the children's section. That sounds like a lot of fun. So maybe we can have a field trip.
I will happily hand you giant stacks of books I think you should read.
Oh, that sounds like fun.
We talked a little bit about that survey process. So the first, action item is me getting that link to you for the shared document, and then you putting the books in there that you want. And it doesn't matter how you go about finding the titles, or whether you go to the library and you wander around, or you do a search on the internet or whatever. All we want to make sure of is that, we have the name of the book, the author, and just a little bit of a blurb about what the book's about. Because what I'll do when I put everything together for that kind of voting piece, I'm going to put the author and the title and then a blurb about what the book covers. In relation to the category that it belongs to, so that everybody can easily kind of know what it is. So that would really be our first action item, is for y'all to do that. And you don't have to, everybody has something that they're more interested in, or they have experiences in an area. So one of us may have 20 books in the civic area and 2 in STEAM. It doesn't really matter how many you have in each category. It's just kind of picking those books up and contributing. And for the librarians, there's books that are really popular, and that's great, and we're happy to do the popular books. But I think you also, as librarians, have experience with books that may not be popular just because they have been released on a smaller scale and they don't get into the hands of the kids. And I think those are some of those special books that would be great to also be able to put on the list and introduce, because kids wouldn't know to look for it. But if it's on the list of books that we have to select, they can be picking up those, kind of off off the mainstream, you know, reading list and find something that's really special. Well, do I have anything else that you'd like to open up for discussion? No? Okay, are we good? All right, so my job will be to get that shared link out to you by Tuesday of next week. And of course, if you get the shared link, you have a problem with it or you don't want to do it that way, you can always just put it in a body of an email and I can move it over to the shared drive. We want to keep it simple. We don't want to create work for all of you. We appreciate you participating and volunteering your time. And I think what we'll do is we'll put that shared drive out and give you guys about, I don't know, 3 weeks, 4 weeks. I know the holiday is coming, so I'm thinking like maybe the end of January. We'll get back together with your selected lists of books and, you know, have kind of a discussion about what you've selected. And if we do the shared document, I can just put it up, you know, and on the screen and we can go through it together if we're meeting virtually. And then we'll be looking to move to that next step of the actual book selection in February. My goal is really to make sure that we can start getting these books out to the kids, you know, by the springtime, before the end of the school year, because I think the most important push for this is really going to be in the summertime when the kids are not in school and they don't have something to do. So, you know, the marketing and the branding and the getting it out there really needs to happen in you know, those months of March or April and May, you know, so that the kids kind of have a handle on it before they go out for the summertime.
Cynthia, I just had another thought. I belong to a Rotary Club, and Rotary has literacy as one of its. Anybody else here Rotarian? Oh, I'll have to send you some invitations. Actually, the reason I brought that up, though, we have an interest in literacy, but my club is, many of us are retired or involved in so many other things. But when it comes to a business providing some kind of trinket, meaningful trinket for the kids, it could be that there are these, what do you call it, civic clubs, whatever you call groups like Rotary. It could be they would be interested in helping out with some of the trinket things, especially if it's a small not-for-profit business, and not a not-for-profit, a small business. So that's something just to keep in mind. I had planned to talk to my club about this to see if we wanted to support some organization who might want to be the business. So anyway, it's just something to think about. Nothing's in, you know, written in stone yet, but we'll see if that works out.
Yeah, no, I think that's a really great idea. I know that I had another community-based club come to me before we actually had this grant funding about working, you know, the literacy that was involved in what they did. And at that time, we didn't have this going. So I just hooked them up with a school. And now they're working one-on-one with the school to, you know, to increase the literacy and get them books. But I think that's a great idea, Gwen. Thank you for that. I didn't think of that.
I'll hang on for that. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, I appreciate everybody coming. And if you happen to have something spinning around in your head over the weekend, please feel free to shoot me an email so that we don't lose any of our ideas or excitement or anything like that.
Hey, it's good to meet everybody.
Yeah. Nice to meet everybody.
Yeah. Thank you, Megan, for inviting me.
Oh, yes,
Oh,
I'm so glad that
good.
you could join us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Erica, I really appreciate you being here. You and Megan, and Nancy, you know, you're all going to be, we all have different backgrounds. And so, and I think that's what's really necessary. So I'm grateful that you all are here and committed to doing this. I appreciate it.
It's
Thanks,
a
Cynthia.
wonderful
Thanks.
idea. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, everybody have a wonderful weekend. Take care.
You too.
Bye all.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.